What would you do if you had the freedom to pursue the things you enjoy the most? How incredible would it feel to have the resources to pursue your passions fully and live life on your terms? This is Brandon Jenkins, host of the Capital Stack podcast and principal of Birch Prosper. You might have heard that 90% of the world's wealthiest people attribute their wealth to real estate investing. Well, guess what? It's true. Investing in real property continues to be the greatest generator of wealth all over the world. So join us each week on the Capital Stack podcast to hear about how commercial real estate group investment opportunities can help you reach true financial freedom and give you your time back. Hello, what's up, and welcome back to the Capital Stack. I'm your host, Brandon Jenkins. We're creeping up on episode number 30, so I thought I'd share some things with you to motivate you on your wealth journey. I read a quote recently from a health and personal growth coach that says, look at your calendar and see if it reflects the life you want to have. So look at your calendar and see if it reflects the life you want to have. Now, that's a very impactful statement. So if you're listening to this podcast, it means you, at the very least, have some level of interest in investing in real estate. Thank you for being a listener, by the way. This is the best audience on the planet. But what does that quote mean? What kind of thoughts entered your mind when you heard that? It's really simple. Your calendar should reflect your goals. Your calendar should in some way reveal the things that are important in your life. If you're an investor, it doesn't matter whether you're an active or a passive investor in this case, your calendar should have a few networking events or calls or deal webinars blocked out. And if it doesn't, you might want to think about filling it up a bit. I mean, after all, getting access to the best deals by the top sponsorship teams in the country and some of the best markets in the nation, it really does depend on how well you nurture your network. So I'm going to leave you with I'm going to share a quick story with you, and then I'll offer you a solution to this problem or this question of, how do we activate our calendar? So last year I joined an amazing mastermind community focused on apartment syndication deals. And so you might have heard myself or my guests mention the Sumrock group in a few episodes. Well, a few weeks after I joined the group, I kind of sat around, feeling accomplished. And I mean, after all, joining an investment group is taking action, right? Well, after a few weeks, I thought to myself, well, where is everybody? And, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm here now. I signed up. Where's the red carpet? I'm exaggerating a little, but I hope you get the point. So I had access to all of the tools and the network and the coaches that I needed to get results, but I let 2 or 3 weeks go by without taking action. It wasn't until I looked at my calendar and saw just how empty it was that I realized, oh, that's the problem. I need to fill this thing up with the activities that are important to me. So I created a Calendly account. I registered for the Mastermind Group's live webinar events and other webinar events hosted by other groups in the syndication space, and voila. My calendar was packed with activities that ultimately got me to where I am now. So in a fairly short amount of time, about 6 months or so, my active contact list shot up by several hundred people. I started this podcast. I got into 3 more deals as an LP. I got into a co-GP deal, all through networking and making sure my calendar reflected the life I wanted to have. By the way, if you're not familiar with Calendly, it's a super flexible scheduling platform that helps you organize your day, your events, and so on. So I use Calendly a whole lot, actually. But that's enough about me. So here's the point. Okay, 2 things. Number 1, I've mentioned on this show many times that it is vital that you plug into an ecosystem of people who are successful at whatever it is that you want to do. I recently read an article called The 17 Habits of Self-Made Millionaires from a Man Who Studies the Rich. It's a pretty cool title. But anyway, one of the things that the author harped on was the fact that successful people hang out with other successful people. Successful people model other successful people, and they are always on the lookout for goal-oriented individuals, which leads me to my second point here. So number 2, have a well-defined goal for what you hope to achieve when you become a part of whatever ecosystem you plug into. That was actually one of the other habits of self-made millionaires mentioned in the same article. It essentially said, successful people define their goals and pursue them relentlessly and passionately. If you do these 2 things, you're all but guaranteed to be successful as an investor, whether passive or active. All right, so now let's talk about the solution to the inactive calendar problem. One of the questions I get a lot from aspiring passive apartment investors is, how can I find deals? What's interesting about this question is that for those of you who have already invested in a deal or two as an LP, your inboxes are probably flooded with deals. I mean, you have the complete opposite problem, right? More like, like how can I sift through all these deals or something like that. So this is another example or yet another example of the importance of networking. So I'm going to share an actionable tip with you to help you increase your exposure to other sponsors in this space. And that will increase your network by 5 people over the next week. Okay, so that'll give you a nice win. It's something that's tangible. And so this is a great way to do it. Okay, so 2 words. Okay, get LinkedIn. If you don't have an active LinkedIn account in 2022, then you are severely limiting your reach and you're limiting your exposure to some amazing passive investment opportunities. Okay, so assuming you already have a LinkedIn account, here's what you're going to do. Okay, I'm going to give you the steps and the blueprint right now. So you go to the homepage, you click on the My Network button at the top, then type the words Apartment Syndicator in the search field. All right, when the next page pops up, you're going to click on the button that says People, and then you're going to click Connections. Okay, it's like a drop-down menu, and then you click Second, okay, from the drop-down list. All right, so what you should see is a list of apartment syndicators with only 1 degree of separation between you. So basically, someone in your LinkedIn network knows this person. All right, now the last step is to pick 5 people from the list to connect with. Now, I usually, when I do this, I typically aim for people who have the highest number of shared connections, okay? My advice would be to leave a brief message to go along with your connect request, just because most people will respond more favorably to that as opposed to just getting, a connect request where there's no context. Okay, so you leave a message like something that says, hey, Jim, I see you're a multifamily syndicator in the Houston area. I'm interested in passively investing in a deal or 2 this year. I would love to connect with you or something like that. Or I'd love to hop on a phone call, something like that. Okay, really, really simple. I'll list out those steps again in the show notes, but it's really not that much work, right? So the bottom line is you're in charge of your life. Even a small action like what I just described can be the catalyst for your success or for a major change or step change in your life. Your calendar will not activate itself. That's your job. Okay. So by the way, this tip also applies to GPs who might be looking to expand their network of passive investors. Only difference being that, when you type, when you get into the search field, you might just type something that's relevant to your avatar or to the type of investor or professional that you're looking for as an investor. Okay. So that's all today. Just a really short episode, something that's really tangible, actionable. Okay. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from Jim Rohn. All right. And it's very simple. If you want to have more, you have to become more. Okay. See you next time. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to the show today, brought to you by Bridge Prosper. If you enjoyed today's episode and you'd like to learn more about commercial real estate investing, please like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you again next week. I'm Brandon Jenkins, and this is the Capital Stack, where we help you learn, apply, and prosper.